Hey everybody, Matumbo here. We are back and playing some more Historic here on Magic Arena. We are having a lot of fun since the new Anthologies 3 set came out, and we wanted to highlight a new deck, a mono red deck, but it's not that mindless mono red aggro deck that everybody's playing, whether it be on Historic or in Standard. So before we get into this deck, do want to remind everybody, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Anything you can do to help grow the channel, any kind of interaction that you do, it does help with the YouTube algorithms, and I would appreciate it so much. We are growing. We had amazing success with our mono black deck from yesterday, so hopefully we'll get the same kind of success from this video as well. So please, if you could do that, I would be so happy. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do, as always. With that being said, we're going to hop into today's deck, and we are calling it the Star of Ulamog. Now, what this deck is about, we're playing a lot of cards that we were such a huge fan of before the rotation in cards like Haphazard Bombardment, Star of Extinction, because we just want to play really big, unfair red spells as quickly as possible. Now, in order to do that, we do need the help of our friend, the Lotus Field. So this is a standard legal land, but it does have some downsides. The upside, it does have hexproof, but it enters the battlefield tapped. But when it enters the battlefield, you also have to sacrifice 2 land. It does add 3 mana of any color, though, once it's in play. So you could play 2 mountains on turn 1 and turn 2, and then on turn 3, maybe use your 2 red mana for like a Wily Goblin, and then play Lotus Field tapped. So the next turn, you'll have access to 4 mana, 5 mana if you're counting the treasure from the Wily Goblin. However, that's not really where we want to be. We have a plan. It's a really high risk, high reward plan if it actually works. And we used to play this a lot. We're playing Blood Sun. So Blood Sun, when it enters the battlefield, we do get to draw a card, but all lands lose all abilities except for mana abilities. So what this basically says is Lotus Field taps to add 3 mana of any one color. It doesn't have any of the other abilities, so it doesn't have hexproof, unfortunately. It doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, and we don't have to sacrifice 2 land. So if we can drop Blood Sun on turn 3, then we can play Lotus Field on turn 4, and we have access to 6, potentially 7 mana on turn 4, depending on whether or not we had a Wily Goblin hit play on turn 2. So, and then from there, we could potentially have, on turn 4, we could cast an Irencrag feat to add 7 mana, and we have 3 mana floating with the rest of our other lands, so that's 10 mana. We could potentially cast an Ulamog on turn 4, or we could cast an Apex of Power on turn 4. We could Star of Extinction. We could Haphazard Bombardment. So let's go over what Haphazard Bombardment does. This is really cool, fun enchantment. When there's a battlefield, we're gonna choose 4 non-enchantment permanents and put counters on them. Then at the end of each of our end steps, if there's 2 or more of the counters on these permanents, one of them is gonna get killed at random. So if you're playing like the land destruction plan, you just drop 4 counters on 4 lands, and then we're gonna eat 3 lands over 3 turns. So it's really cool. The good thing about this is that you can actually put the counters on things that have hexproof. Because you're not actually targeting, you're just choosing. So that is something to be aware of. So hitting like Paradise Druids and stuff like that is something that can be done. So we do Star of Extinction again. This has really one of the coolest animations in the game. This is going to destroy land, and then we're going to get to deal 20 damage to each creature and planeswalker. So if we have an Ulamog in play, Ulamog's indestructible. I mean, the game is over, and it's really fun just to Star of Extinction, wipe their whole board once they've like just spent all of their hand playing everything, and then they just have no way to recover after that. Ulamog, one of the cool new cards, old cards that came from the Anthology set. This is an indestructible. When you cast it, you get to exile 2 permanents, and that's just casting. So even if they counter this spell, you still get to actually exile 2 permanents because it is a cast trigger. And whenever he attacks, we get to exile the top 20 cards from our opponent's library just for him turning sideways and attacking, so that's huge. And then our other payoff, Apex of Power, we get to exile the top 7 cards from our library. Until end of turn, we can cast spells from them, and if this spell was cast from your hand, we get to add 10 mana of any one color. So this is a way, if we have 10 mana and don't really have a payoff, we can cast this. We could dig through the top 7 cards to try to find one of our payoffs in the form of Ulamog or Star of Extinction or Haphazard. Just it's just a way to dig and cast the bigger spells. So in order to get ramp, we have Wily Goblin. This gives us treasure. Pirate's Pillage gives us 2 treasures and lets us draw 2 cards. Azor's Gateway lets us go through our deck. This is a 1-of. It's just going to draw a card, discard a card. If we discard 5 cards that have different casting costs, this actually flips over into Crazy Land, where it taps for a bunch of mana equal to our life total. Sarkin, this is really just a target for our opponents if they're on aggro, but it does let us discard a card and draw a card. Again, we've covered Blood Sun. Storm's Wrath, this is just a 4 damage for aggro decks that we might run into. Irencrag Feat, again, this is a ramp spell. It's going to add 7 mana, and we only can play one more card after this for that turn. And then we do have Jaya. Jaya is cool in the fact that she adds 3 red mana for sorceries or instants. This is good if we're trying to ramp up to an apex, or if we're in desperation needing to Star of Extinction. Typically, Jaya is not a combo with Star of Extinction because the 20 damage will hit her as well. But again, this is mainly just, it's one of those desperation things. You're typically wanting to play this and then just discard up to 3 and then draw that many cards. And then finally, we do have an alternate plan to get out Ulamog, and that is with the new card Luca. We are going to focus on the -2 ability of exiling a creature we control and then revealing cards until we hit a creature with higher converted mana cost. So if we have Wily Goblin and we use -2, we're going to always hit an Ulamog because that's the only other creature that we play in our deck, and it does cost more than Wily Goblin. So there you have it. We're just trying to do super unfair things, again, in mono red as quickly as possible and see if our opponents can recover. And I do want to remind everybody to please stay until the end of the video where we do the wrap up and we talk about what went really well and things that we might potentially change. So let's get into the gameplay, and we will see you guys here very shortly. All right. It's time for some high risk, high reward playing. Again, Blood Sun, not exactly where you want to be, but we're here for the fun of it. Lucky Husky 11. Opponent's going first. They're on a Numori type build. Probably either mutate or, instance. We'll go ahead and keep. We can draw a Lotus Field. Right, so what are they playing? What colors? Green. Green, white. Enchantment. So they're playing an enchantment-based deck, it looks like. Enchantress's Presence, okay. All right, give us that. Give us that Lotus Field. No, that's the opposite of what we want. This hand is not good. Okay, we definitely need a land here. Land here lets us Irencrag Feat into Star of Extinction. So there is definitely still hope. Okay. Ooh, all that glitters. It's a 5/6, huh? So I don't think we want to be greedy. If we're greedy here and then try to play a Blood Sun and draw a card and we miss our land drop, then we can't actually Luca next turn, which we want to do. He is drawing a lot of cards. A lot of cards. Wow.
Dissenters are welcome to debate me in battle. I can do better than you.
So I think we probably lose to another All That Glitters. But we definitely got Ulamog into play. It's really that All Seed of Life's bounty that's really giving us the issue. I mean, he could just swing in and we don't. Well, let's do this. We're going to exile 3 cards.
If I can't use it as a weapon.
I didn't really do anything, so. So he could definitely use his Life's Bounty here to give his Destiny Spinner plus, or protection. And he didn't for some reason. So I don't know why he didn't do that. He could have given Pro Red. And then that would have prevented us from attacking, but so that's definitely a misplay on his part, but a win's a win, so we'll... So start to game 2. Remember, stay hydrated. I can't emphasize that enough. You guys know that. Everybody who's been here since the beginning knows always. Always a big supporter of hydrating. A lot of people like to sit at their computers and drink all kinds of things that are not good for you, whether it be... I think we're actually going to be greedy and keep this. Because if we can draw a 1 land in 2 turns for this Wily Goblin, just like that. Interesting. So we are... playing a really weird discard deck. Alright, so what are we going to give him? We want to give him a... give him an extra card. Oh, he's playing blue also. Interesting. No attacks. So if he makes his discard again, we're totally on the discard mountain plan. Man. We want to give him mana here. Yeah. Let him have 2 mana. Do what you got to do. Like I said, do what you got to do. Nice. We definitely chained him into some pretty good things. However,
They call me a pariah because of my strength. In battle, one must be willing to adapt.
Let me pick your brain for a minute.
so we're probably just playing off the top of our library. Yeah, we don't want to give him any zombies or anything.
All I've left you is pain.
Maybe we can hit a Wily Goblin? Oh no, we hit...
Titans obey my command.
Bet he chumps here. I mean, you too would chump a 10-10, right? With a 1-1? Seems like a fair trade. Really just need to get him... Why didn't you just block? We don't have any cards to discard. Maybe he thinks we have a card to discard? Oh, okay. Good game. Good game. Yeah, so this deck started off as a land destruction deck while we were, adding cards initially. We had like the Rebel Readings and the Goblin that kills a non-basic land, and pretty much all of the land destruction spells that were red we were playing. But then I just figured, you know what, we don't want to be on a straight land destruction plan. We want to be more of a semi-combo / aggressive plan where we try to aggressively try to combo out a ridiculous card in order just to take over the game. So we're gonna keep this. This is really weird. These are essentially the same card. That's why we're playing one of each of them. But drawing both of these was not really the ideal plan. I guess the gateway is a little bit better than the Sarkhan. Sarkhan doesn't really do anything. Just puts a target. So we'll probably actually play this because I feel like he's probably playing a aggro-y type deck, and this will just put a target on him for a couple turns. Maybe we won't. Maybe we don't. So he's playing a Gruul, most likely. What else? Maybe just elementals? So the good thing about this is we can put this on a Lotus Field. And the real good thing about is we can actually Blood Sun, make that lose hexproof. And that's what I think our plan is. That's fine. So he's probably playing some kind of, or not. What is in? All right, so what we could do We could just Irencrag feet into Ulamog. But we can also... What did he pitch? Nothing? So we're going to take a little riskier play here. This is going to put him off of a lot of mana. And this is a faster plan. This this makes it happen immediately. And I mean, that's part of the reason why we could have taken a turn off and just Blood Sun and let him go. And then we could have Ulamog next turn, but I feel like that could have just put him too far ahead. That's why we did that. So awesome. Yeah, this deck just has crazy, insane power. It definitely is. I could see it not being very powerful, obviously, if you get the wrong draws. But just the thing about mono red being able to ramp, if you're able to hit a Blood Sun and then just immediately that following turn follow it up with a Lotus Field. So Blood Sun, this has potential. Again, if we can hit a Lotus Field. We're not blocking. Your guy has first strike. You did it. Oh my god, you did it. Congratulations on a job well done. Oh man, look at us. And again, this is part of the expectation sometimes as you draw all the Blood Suns. So again, we're hoping to divert a little bit of attention away from us. Just enough, though.
No sword can pierce my... I don't need this. I need this.
So this is actually the perfect draw. We might not live, though. So 3-4 over here, 2 at us. And then maybe he utilizes his mana. He does not. Alright, well, he still has a 1-1. They do play a lot of burn. So that draw was probably the best draw we could have had. I don't think we care about that 1-1. And that's how you beat mono red. That's how you beat mono red. Wow, just draw like a champ. And these games, they're quick games. I mean, you overpower your opponent. I mean, we haven't gotten overpowered yet, but I mean, you overpower your opponent pretty quickly, or I assume it just happens to you. So Historic's a weird format. I think we have to keep this. I mean, our deck is built around trying to get out of Blood Sun, but being able to treasure, double treasure is really good. So Abzan, 4-color shenanigans. This is probably an elemental deck or something along those sorts. So drawing a Blood Sun here would be really, really good. So you are playing... Oh. What's our best play here? So if we play Lotus Field, we have 3, 4, 5 mana next turn. But if we do this, we have 6 mana next turn. And I think we have to pitch that. So really just have to hope he doesn't get to his land count this turn. And of course. Oh. Do we? Or do we try? I think we have to try to... Yeah, I think we have to try to make sure we keep all of our mana available. And just try to Star of Extinction as many times as possible. Please don't get another field. Of course you're going to get another field. Why do I even ask? Well, the good news is he didn't have another one. So we do have enough for one more Star of Extinction, but do these decks play Crucible of Worlds? Is that a thing? I really just don't want him to have another Golos. Because, you know, just asking for it. It's not a horrible draw, but... So land searching is fine. Even just playing one land a turn is fine. So... Yep, we were about to Blood Sun, and then this game was going to be over, so... Wow, okay. This deck is performing really well in many different ways. So I've got to imagine that Field of the Dead is super popular and historic, and Blood Sun just might be exactly where we want to be. We are going to keep... Hey, we'll say hello to you. Guild Gates, huh? Oh, my mouse just is getting caught up over here. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Hello. So the only thing we have to be wary about is that Blood Sun potentially makes all of his lands come into play untapped, which we don't necessarily want. So, Maze's End, huh? Well, now your lands just make mana. It is what it is. Yep, you definitely have a 5/5. So I think we... I think we just have to eat those. So I'm okay with sacrificing Jaya. Have at it. What would be the best draw right now? It really isn't the worst draw. So we're really looking for... no attacks. This puts us pretty close. This only really shields us from 1 damage, so... And that actually gets us there. Now we want to get rid of a gate. Oh, those are gates too. So, I mean, what can I really say about... Alright, well, we hit some good things. I'm sure he's going to make jumps. And... Hey, Wily Goblin. So, can cast this Apex of Power. And why not, right? We want red. How many cards we got? I mean, All right, well, I think we're in pretty good shape. We just cast Apex of Power for, you know, no reason. Kind of to BM, but we did it. And we ended up with all of this on the battlefield. That's crazy. I love this deck. All right, everybody, welcome back to the wrap up. This deck did amazing. And again, I love decks like this. We played some of our favorite cards in the form of Haphazard Bombardment, Star of Extinction, Jaya Ballard, Blood Sun with Lotus Field. We went 6-0 in games. Again, we squeezed in one more game just because we had a few of those really quick games because, again, our deck, people just were not ready for our deck. Everything performed, I really feel like, exactly how I wanted it to. We might could potentially cut one Luca in the deck and maybe up another way to draw cards or something along those lines. But again, I mean, I feel like everything was just right where we needed to, and we got some really lucky draws. Obviously, as you saw, we top decked a few times. So I do want to hit on one thing. So after the last game, I was just really curious, like what a lot of the meta would be. And apparently a lot of the meta is Field of the Dead type decks where you're just trying to ramp out a lot of land, get Field of the Deads into play. And I realized our deck is really built really well to beat those Field of the Dead decks just because of Blood Sun. Blood Sun is really a card that they can't deal with, and it just turns off all of the non-mana abilities. So those Field of the Deads just don't make zombies anymore, and they just really don't have a way around that. You don't even have to worry about killing them with the Star of Extinction. You can just drop a Blood Sun and then just be done with zombies. Just deal with the zombies they haven't played by that time, and you're good to go. So yeah, I really recommend playing this deck. This deck is pretty expensive in regards to like rares and mythics and whatnot. There's a ton. I'm not really going to suggest that you go out of your way to build this, but I do suggest that if you are close to building this deck, and if you've purchased like the Anthologies deck, the Anthologies set, I'm sorry, I would definitely give it a try. This deck's a lot of fun. Could potentially go up like one or two more lands. So maybe drop one Luca for a land. But again, other than that, this deck is really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the games. So with that being said, please subscribe to the channel. We are growing. We're growing. And it's been so much fun. Just want to keep making great content for you. Please like the video. Please hit that bell icon to be notified, and please leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about the video and any of maybe your favorite games that you saw. So with that being said, guys, it is Friday. You guys have an amazing weekend, and we will see you guys next time.